There should be no tension. Companies are built by people in the company, leaders all the way down to the person that cleans the floors. But leaders form a small percentage of the workforce. Understand that. The big part of the workforce usually is made up by ordinary workers. And I always say that the cultures are shaped by the policies that are made in the company and the decisions that are made on a day-to-day basis. What shapes the success of the company? I always say that a company is an ecosystem. There are parts, everyone plays a role. There's just no one role or job or department that you'll say is an anchor or is the reason for success or a failure of a company. If a company works as an ecosystem where every department, every member of the team feels that I've got a contribution to make and my contribution is both meaningful and valuable, suddenly you begin to have a rhythm, what I call a heartbeat of an organization. And a heartbeat of an organization is made up of the way you make decisions, the people that work in a company, the infrastructure, the systems, the platforms that you use, and the work itself. Is work fulfilling? Is it meaningful? Do people feel that work aligns with who I am? Not what I'm passionate about, but who I am as a person. All of those things in that ecosystem can either break or make the company. So always look, I always say to my leaders, to my clients, look for those things that make people want to keep coming back here. What motivates people to want to continue to work with us? And find those things that matter to those people and focus on them. The things that discourage them, that make them disconnected, that make them discouraged, you need to fix. Like you said, you may not make everyone happy in a company, but try to find things that make the larger component of your company happy. Because you can lose 15, 20% over time. But for instance, if the larger cohort is millennials and Gen Zs in your company, you probably would want to know what makes sense to them, what makes them tick, and what makes them come alive, what interests them, what makes them want to come here. Because they are a large segment of a company. But if you just paint everyone with the same brush and say, people here, just like I said to you the other day, most companies have got all 5 generations in one company, from boomers all the way down to Gen Zs. 5. How do you ensure that you cater for all these people's needs, expectations, and demands? It's probably impossible. But I would say if a combination of Gen Zs and millennials form 60 to 80% of a workforce, you probably want to pay attention to their needs, because they can break you down if you reject or neglect their expectations and demands. But again, I haven't seen a company that makes every cohort or every segment of the workforce happy.
Can't make everybody happy.
You can't. You have to be intentional and deliberate about, if I take care of these needs and I can afford to provide it to them at a reasonable cost, I'm probably going to be successful. Even if there is a small percentage of a workforce that feels they're being neglected, that's not going to break the company. And that is something that leaders should continue to analyze. And by the way, before I stop this section, the needs, expectations, and demands of the workers keep changing. That's why I always say your employee value proposition can't be something that you paste on the wall and think that it's going to be like that forever or for the next 10 years. Because every day, based on your policies, the decisions you make, and the work itself, the needs, demands of the workers change. Today they might say, we just want a coffee shop, or we want free coffee, or we want free lunch. And next week they say, no, we want free Wi-Fi at home, because now we're working in a hybrid fashion. And next time they will say, oh no, I want a virtual assistant that's going, like in an AI kind of format, that's going to work with me wherever I work. And I would like the organization to provide that for me. So the needs, the demands, the expectations keep shifting. So that's why I always say employee value proposition is a moving goalpost. And you can't document it based on when the workforce told you 5 years ago, because you have to, the needs and the expectations keep shifting, and sometimes they shift ahead of the company, and you have to be honest and say, I'm sorry, I can't provide that. We're going to have to think about how we lock into a contract or we recontract, because unfortunately what you're needing now is something beyond our reach, and that's perfectly okay. And the choice then is to the employee, say, do I stay or do I use what I've always gotten, or do I look elsewhere? Because sometimes the demands are just unrealistic from employees. Yeah, I've seen it. Sometimes the demands are just unrealistic, or they're just trying to test you how far you can go as a company in terms of offering benefits to them. And again, I think I was talking to you or Jetro the other day that whether it's psychological contracting or business contracting, it's a give and take. It's trading. Because as you demand more things from a company, I need to ask myself as a company director, what else are you bringing on top of what you've always done from your side? So as I improve my benefits or my offering, what are you willing to also offer to match that offering? And very, very seldom we don't discuss that. We just say, oh no, the company can't afford it. We don't say, no, I can do it, but only if you show up differently or if you can do more. Because we need to trade, exactly. And that's why I said to you, we need to match employees' passion, interest, skills with the work, but also we need to match their contribution with the offering that we're giving. And if it doesn't make sense or it misaligns, something is going to give. And then there is a compromise, and that compromise sometimes hurts the business. So I always say to my clients, when employees come back with demands of any kind of nature, you need to analyze and ask the question, what are you willing to offer from your side to match that demand? And if that conversation is not moving, and there's no deal.